to the UIAAA Connection podcast. GoFan and VNN are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the UIAAA Connection. Now a combined company, GoFan and VNN provide a seamless integration for digital ticketing and athletic websites. Direct your fans to one place for all your athletic events, communications, and tickets to home and away games. Thank you to GoFan and VNN for their exclusive sponsorship of the UIAAA Connection.
Welcome back to another edition of the UIAAA Connection. I'm your host, Mark Hutch Hunter. Today, we are pleased to have 6 special guests on the podcast. This is our annual Student Scholar podcast. Today, we will hear from Brevan Egbert, Malea Hansen, Tate Kjar, MacKenzie Mayer, Journey Toomey, and Daren Tovey. I might add that the 6 of these scholars, each of them which receive a $2,000 award to the school where they'll be attending, earned 54 letters between the 6 of them. So we will begin tonight by speaking with Brevan Egbert from Skyview High School. Our first of the 6 student guests that we have this evening is Brevan Egbert, Skyview High School, 4.0 GPA, student body president, a member of the National Honor Society for 4 years, has earned 8 letters and a state championship and an individual state championship. Welcome to the podcast, Brevan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience where you went to elementary and junior high school.
I went to Sunrise Elementary and then North Cache Middle School for junior high. They were great experiences for sure.
Let's have you talk to our audience about some of the great memories you have from playing youth sports up in Cache Valley.
Oh man, youth sports were my childhood. It was so awesome. I started out just flag football, basketball, all sorts of sports, t-ball, soccer. It was just great to be able to get outside, play with my friends. I really think that influenced me a ton in my life. Especially like I had great coaches, I had great role models and people that supported me. And that just carried on throughout high school, gave me a lot of reason to work hard. And yeah, it kind of all started there in youth sports. Is great experiences for sure.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. As a follow-up, let's ask you, who's the best coach that you ever had, and tell us why?
Oh man, that's a tough question because I've had a lot of good coaches. You got Stu Howell, you got Jim Walker. I'm probably going to go with my head football coach though, Christopher Howell. He was just awesome. He was just all about the little things. And a lot of times you have coaches that are all about winning, and you got coaches that are like, yeah, we want to win, but we care about the things that matter more. And Tove cared about what mattered more, but he cared about winning. He was in that middle ground. So he instilled in me a lot of values that I used throughout my 4 years of high school that I'll continue to use. We had a leadership class taught by him all 4 years. He taught some great concepts to me and just truly was a role model that I'll be able to look back on my entire life. He was just fantastic.
Great insight. Thanks for sharing. Mm-hmm. From your perspective, Brevan, what does it mean to you to be a teammate?
Honestly, it's just as simple as putting the team before yourself. And that's pretty cliche, but it truly is like the best definition that you can have. For example, like you got a lot of guys that good teammates, like on the field, they're going to be sharing the ball. They're going to be doing what the team needs to do, but kind of the locker room, they're all about themselves. And I think that being a team guy, being a team player is really just making the people around you better in every circumstance. In the classroom, like off the field, you're just setting a good example, and just being a leader, because it truly is like anywhere you go, you got people surrounding you that you need help. Like even in individual sports, you got like track and tennis, stuff like that. You need your coaches, you need your support system. So being a team player is just appreciating those people and putting them first.
Well said. Brevan, I want you to share 2 suggestions for incoming freshman student athletes, and they need to follow your suggestions in order for them to be successful. What would your 2 suggestions be?
I think I would say I would relate these two. I'm gonna say set your values high when you're coming in, and then stick to those values. So you got to set your expectations super high, achievable for sure. But you got your goals, you got your values that you're gonna stick to, whether it's your physical goals, whether it's your goals with your team, with yourself, on and off the field. And those have to be high, and then just sticking to them, being consistent every single day, just constantly striving and working towards that. I would say if you do those 2 things, you're going to have success because your values aren't going to be compromised by anything. And yeah, just having those high standards is really important.
Some great insight. Let's finish with this question, Brevan. Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college?
Oh man, that's in a while. I am really excited for the future. It's going to be great. I'm a family guy. I want to have a family. That's a pretty high goal of mine after college. I'm going into the business field probably. I want to be the general manager of the Green Bay Packers one day. I think that would be super sweet, or any professional sports team, but that's the goal. But yeah, just kind of taking these things that I've learned in high school and throughout sports and everything, because there's a lot of good, and then just applying those good things that I've learned. And then I love to give back because I've had all these great role models in my life. So after college, I'd love to get into the coaching scenario, even if it's just little league. But I just love to kind of keep that tradition going and try to help people kind of like I've been helped in the past.
Well said. That wraps it up for our first guest on the podcast this evening. Again, Brevan Egbert, Skyview High School. Brevan, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Hutch. Appreciate you.
Our second guest on our student scholar broadcast this evening is Malea Hansen from Syracuse High School. She's got a 4.0 GPA, 2-year member of the National Honor Society, earned 9 letters, which is impressive, team captain of lacrosse and soccer, and academic All-State. Welcome to the podcast, Malea.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience your younger years, where you went to elementary school, where you went to middle school, etc.
Well, I was born and raised in West Point, Utah. I went to West Point Elementary as well as Lakeside Elementary. And then I attended West Point Junior, and now I'm a senior at Syracuse High. Go Titans.
There you go. There you go. Let's have you talk to our audience about some of the memories you've had from all the youth sports you were able to play, some of the great times you had.
Yes. I had so many positive experiences with youth sports. Looking back in my life, I've played almost every sport available to me. I love sports. They're my passion. But a few fun memories that stand out are winning volleyball tournaments and soccer tournaments, and just feeling that success and achievement of reaching our goals and succeeding. I have one particular time it's kind of a funny story, where it was a soccer championship game. I was about 12, and I like to say that I made an assist in this game, but in reality what happened was I got nailed in the face by a defender trying to clear the ball, and then my teammate grabbed the ball and scored. But I'll count it as an assist. And although I got a concussion, that was kind of sad, but it was really fun.
Well, that's an interesting story. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you, from your perspective, Malea, to be a good teammate?
Being a teammate to me means accepting your role on a team and doing your best to exemplify that. letting your teammates take their roles and do your best to give your 100% to what you have been told to do. It's pushing yourself every day to be the best you can be, as well as pushing your teammates, helping each other along and cheering each other on when you make those little successes. It's remaining patient and positive when those setbacks do come, and it's trusting each other to have each other's backs in those game situations and in life.
Some great insight. Thanks so much for sharing that. Let me ask you this, Malea. Who's the best coach you ever had? And then tell us why.
I've had a lot of really great coaches, but one that's had a big impact on me is my high school soccer coach. His name's Taylor Allen, and he really pushed me and my teammates to be the best that we could be. He taught me a lot of leadership principles that I now use in my daily life, and I have grown exponentially because of what he's taught me. I went from, at least in the physical department, I went from being this small, skinny freshman who I sometimes got picked on for having really small legs. I was a little twig, but through my training with Coach Allen in the weight room and on the field, I am now nicknamed the Quad Queen by my lacrosse teammates. It's fun. But
I like that.
Thank you. But I've learned from Coach Allen, I learned grit, determination, mental toughness, and that I'm stronger than I think I am. He taught us to enjoy the grind and to push ourselves past our mental and physical limits. And even though playing under Coach Allen was one of the hardest things I've ever done, I wouldn't trade that time for anything. It's a big part of who I am. The things that he taught me on the field.
Very good. Malea, I want you to have 2 suggestions for an incoming freshman student athlete, and they need to follow the Quad Queen's suggestions in order to be successful. What would those 2 suggestions be?
Yes. One, I would say, is to really get involved, because you only have one high school experience. And so really make the most of it. Play as many sports as you can, join clubs, and make lots of friends. Some of my best friends have been my teammates, and I hope to be friends with them the rest of my life, but also make it fun. Take the time to celebrate your small victories and enjoy the game, enjoy the grind. And my second piece of advice would just to try and be a friend to all. I have made so many friends through all the sports I've played. I guess I just already said that, but that's one way you can really make high school awesome, and your sports is just try to get rid of cliques in your sports and really get to know all your teammates. And that's 2 pieces of advice I would give to freshmen to make their sports experience great.
Thanks for sharing that. We'll finish with this question. Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college?
Well, this year I will be attending BYU in the fall and hope to play on their lacrosse team. But after college, I hope to get married and start a family, and one day coach my little kids' Little League teams, and to keep playing these sports that I love and sharing my passion with my community and family.
That is a great answer. Thanks so much for sharing. That wraps it up for this guest of the podcast. Once again, the second guest today has been Malea Hansen, Syracuse High School. Malea, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Our third guest on the podcast this evening is Tate Kjar from Corner Canyon. Tate has a 3.82 grade point average, a 2-year member of the National Honor Society, has earned 8 letters, and has been the football and track captain not once, but twice during his junior and senior years. And possibly most impressive, he's got 5 state championships and 4 individual state championships in track. Welcome to the podcast, Tate.
Thank you for having me, Hutch.
Let's have you begin by talking about where you went to school before Corner, where you went to elementary school, where you went to middle school.
So I went to Dry Creek Elementary, which is in Lehigh, Utah. And then I went to Draper Park Middle School for middle school.
So obviously you moved from Lehigh to Draper.
Yes, I did.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think it was 7th grade when I did that.
Share some of the experiences that you've had from your youth sports. I know you probably played a bunch of sports. Share some of the best experiences you've had from your youth sports.
Probably my best experience was my 8th grade football season that I had it was my first season not playing for Lehigh youth football. So I was playing for Corner Canyon youth football, and I don't know, just in the years past, I played receiver, but I didn't really get a whole lot of like balls thrown to me because it was Little League and stuff. But then I switched over to Corner Canyon, and I don't know, we just threw a lot more, so I had a lot more fun with the game, and I got to play defense too, which I thought was really fun. And all my really good friends were on the team, so I don't know, it was just a really cool experience to be able to play and win a championship and go undefeated for Little League with all my best friends.
That's excellent. From your perspective, Tate, what does it mean to you to be a teammate?
I think what it means to be a teammate is to find joy in your teammate's success, and like also just always being there for them, and like being able to be that person that they can rely on to like talk to if they need to, or just have them like help them with anything. That's what I think it means.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that. Tate, who's the best coach you've ever had, and tell us why?
My best coach is probably my dad that I had for all my high school career. He's my football coach. And why? It's because, I mean, it was hard sometimes because he'd yell at me all the time and stuff, and he was super hard on me. But I think that's what just made me a better athlete and have helped me excel better, is because he was just always pushing me and wanted the best for me. So I think so I got to say my dad probably was my best coach.
And you've got 4 individual track titles. Who's your track coach?
My dad as well. But he does track and football.
Okay, so you get the double dose. Excellent.
Yeah, I do.
All right, Tate, I want you to share with our audience from your perspective. You've got 2 suggestions for a brand new freshman athlete coming into high school, and they need to follow Tate's suggestion in order for them to be a successful student athlete. What would your 2 suggestions be?
I think realizing that like your freshman and sophomore year matter in sports and like academics. Like it might not seem as important right now when you're like a freshman, and like you'll be like, oh, I'll just make up and have good grades and focus really hard my junior and senior year. But it starts your freshman year and sophomore year to like go to all like the practices for your sports team and like getting all the training in so you can become a good athlete, because 2 years only focusing your junior and senior year will help you become a really great athlete. And if you're not taking your education seriously and like academics first 2 years, then it will ruin your chances to be able to go to like a really good college that you might want to go to. And the second one is probably I don't know, just work hard and always try to better yourself every day. Like you can't just hit plateaus where you just like are not either improving or decreasing or just going straight. Like you gotta be constantly wanting to like grow and improve, and that'll just help, not even with sports but just like academics wise too. Like it'll just help you for the rest of your life.
Great suggestions. Thanks so much for sharing. We'll finish with this question, Tate. Where do you see yourself after you graduated from college?
Hopefully I'm married, and have a job. I don't know. I haven't really figured out what I wanted to do really in college, or like a job or major in college. But I think like medical sales or something in medical is what I'd want to be in.
All right. That wraps it up for our third guest of the podcast. Again, Tate Kjar from Corner Canyon. Tate, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Our next guest on the podcast today is MacKenzie Mayer from Grand County High School. Welcome to the podcast, MacKenzie.
Thank you.
MacKenzie's got a 3.92 grade point average, a member of the National Honor Society for 3 years, 10 letters, captain of the swim team for 2 years, and a state champion swimmer. So those are great accomplishments. Let's have you begin by speaking with our audience here. What schools you attended before you went to Grand? So elementary, middle school.
All right, yeah. So I've actually been homeschooled my whole life up until high school, where I went to Grand County High School.
Oh, okay. And how was that?
It was great. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm actually from Georgia, so down there was a big homeschool community, and it was really great to be raised in that.
And does that allow you a lot of time to get to see in the spring and the summer and the fall a lot of the Moab sites because you're homeschooled and you're not stuck in school with the rest of the kids?
Yeah, well, right now I'm in high school. I'm in public school, but
Yeah.
Before that, yes, definitely. I got to see a lot of the world.
Share some positive experiences from sports when you were younger, either in the Moab area or earlier when you lived in Georgia.
So growing up, I've always done triathlons, and I feel like triathlons have been a big positive, like, family experience. My brother and my dad also competed in triathlons, and we would just train together. We'd go on bike rides together and runs together. So it was just great to all be together, just sharing something that I loved as a youth and still do. Along with that, we went to many new places and traveled to different races. And it was just a great experience to meet new people. And yeah, the whole thing was just a great positive experience growing up.
That's awesome. MacKenzie, from your perspective, what does it mean to you to be a teammate?
I feel like to be a teammate is to be a part of a family member. All my teammates are like family to me. I feel like as a team, you go through lots of ups and downs and wins and losses. And I think it's very important to rely on your team. It's important to learn to support and lift each other up, encourage each other, and be positive, and just be fully dedicated to your team.
Great answer. Thanks so much for sharing. MacKenzie, who's the best coach you ever had, and tell us why?
My best coach that I've had is Wendy Young. She's my high school swim coach, so she's been my coach for the last 4 years. She's my favorite coach because she just really cares for each and everyone on the team. She makes everyone feel really important, and she has taught me so much. She's taught me to give it my all in meets and practices, just anytime I'm training, even when I'm out of the pool. She's taught me that it's not all about winning, but about each and everyone's self-improvement on the team that makes the team great as a whole.
Excellent. I want you to share 2 ideas that you can give to an incoming freshman in high school, and they need to follow your 2 ideas or suggestions in order for them to become a successful student athlete. What would your 2 suggestions be?
I think a big one would be time management. It's possible to be a great athlete and a student, but time management is key. You just need to have the time to be able to achieve your goals. And I think it's really important to set priorities, to stay on top of them and get everything you need to get done in a day to achieve your goals. And it's also important to set priorities to not overwork yourself or overburn.
Well said. We'll finish up with this question. Where do you see yourself after you graduated from college?
After college, I'm hoping to be a physical therapist and just being really involved in my community and my church. And I would still like to be active and be doing triathlons.
That is excellent. That wraps it up for this student. We have more coming. Once again, the guest for this portion of the podcast has been MacKenzie Mayer, Grand County High School. Thanks for being on the podcast, MacKenzie.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Our next guest on our Student Scholar broadcast is Journey Toomey from North St. Pete High School. Welcome to the podcast, Journey.
Hi.
A few things about Journey: 4.0 GPA, National Honor Society member, 11 letters, student body president, and wrestling and track captains for 2 years each year. So those are incredible accomplishments. Let's have you begin, Journey, by sharing with our audience, before you went to high school, where you went to elementary, junior high, etc.
Well, I went to Moroni Middle School, and that's just like our middle school that's in St. Pete County. So we have like 9 different towns go there. And then I moved to Mount Pleasant in 3rd grade. So since then I went to like Mount Pleasant Elementary School. But before then I went to a lot of different elementary schools, so I'm not really sure.
Okay. All right. Share some of the positive experiences you've had from playing sports when you were younger.
Probably like the biggest positive thing from when I was younger was joining my like youth club soccer team. It was called San Andreas, and well, down where I live in a really small town. So there's like nothing going on here. There's not a ton of people. So my coach, Julio Tapia, he decided to create like a co-ed soccer team. And so there were tons of boys on that team. Like it was mainly boys, and then it was just like me and 3 other girls. And I think what was really fun about that was that I got to meet a lot of people. So this happened in 6th grade, so before I went to middle school. So I got to meet like all of the kids that I was going to be going to middle school with. So I feel like it was really good for me to like help make new friends. And I think it really helped improve me as like a player, because I played with boys and we'd play in like all boys leagues. But it was really intimidating at first, but I think that's like probably my favorite positive experience in youth athletics. Also, I did like flag football and I thought that was super fun when they opened up that to do it with girls too, because I was just like super excited to do that.
That's excellent. From your perspective, Journey, what does it mean to you to be a teammate?
For me to be a teammate would probably just like making sure that you're like always there for like one another. Like I would always like to be there for my teammates, and like there's no shame in like reaching out for help, and also just sticking through the like hard things. And like honestly, to me, my team is my second family. So just like being there for one another.
Great answer. Thanks so much for sharing. Share with our audience, Journey, who's the best coach that you ever had, and then tell us why.
My best coach ever has definitely been my soccer coach, Julio. So I started playing with him in 6th grade, like I said before, but he was also my high school coach. So I've been with him for a lot of years, like 6 years, and he definitely impacted my life a ton. When so my dad passed away when I was little, and I didn't really grow up with a father figure, and what he did for me was like he stepped up as that role when like nobody in my life really had, and I really just appreciate him so much. Like he's done so much for me, and I really wouldn't be the person I am without him in my life.
Excellent. I want you to share with our audience and maybe some of the younger listeners out there 2 suggestions you have for an incoming freshman student athlete, and they need to follow your 2 suggestions in order to become a successful student athlete. What would your 2 suggestions be?
My first thing would definitely be try like everything. I have tried so many sports and I'm not good at a lot of them, but I was able to find stuff that I am good at. Like you just have to be really persistent. Like just be persistent, be willing to learn new things, and be willing to take like criticism and feedback, because you're not going to be good at everything at the beginning, and it takes a lot of work to be good. And then the second thing is you have to love what you're doing. Like if you don't love what you are doing, then you're not going to grow, because you have to learn to love the process of like getting better, because it's not easy, but it's so much easier when you love what you're doing. So you just have to make sure that you like what you are doing.
Very good. Let's finish up with this. Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college, Journey?
College? Well, I want to go to school to be a dental hygienist. So I'm gonna go play college soccer for 2 years at Colorado Northwestern, and then after that, I plan on getting my generals done there, and then going and getting my dental hygiene school done, and hopefully I'll be a dental hygienist after college. That's my
That
plan.
is that is excellent. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Again, our guest for this segment has been Journey Toomey from North Sanpete High School. Thanks for being on the podcast, Journey.
Of course.
Our final guest today on our student scholarship broadcast is Daren Tovey from Viewmont High School, 4.0 GPA, member of the National Honor Society for 2 years, has earned 9 varsity letters, and is the wrestling and track captain, not for 1 year or 2 years, but 3 years, captain of each sport, which is impressive, and academic All-State. Welcome to the podcast, Daren.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's have you begin by sharing where you attended school in your younger years.
So start off, I went to Centerville Elementary for 3 years until second grade, kindergarten, first and second. And then I attended West Bountiful Elementary for the rest of elementary. So three more years on that. And then I went to Bountiful Junior High and then finished it off with Viewmont High School.
Okay, perfect. Let's have you share some of your positive experiences from your youth sports days.
So I played sports kind of all grown up, and I think kind of just being around it and being a part of it kind of shaped me to who I am today. I think by being on a team and being able to cope with others and kind of learn different personalities and being able to kind of grow and learn how to better deal with them and how to kind of work as a team to get to a goal that we one day wanted.
And how many youth sports? I assume you played what? Basketball, baseball, football, any other number of sports, probably.
Soccer, lacrosse, volleyball, kind of everything. So
everything. That's impressive. From your perspective, Daren, what does it mean to you to be a good teammate?
I think it kind of starts with character. I think it doesn't really matter how good you are, I guess, but I don't know. I remember all the teammates that I had even going back to sophomore year where they were seniors, and whether or not they were the best guy on the court, they were always the nicest to me and would check in on me and see how I was doing. So I think first off, it just comes with being nice to others. And I just think like respecting whether or not, even though they're the same class or not, but just respecting everyone on the team.
Very good. Let me ask you this. Who's the best coach you ever had, and tell us why?
I've had a lot of good coaches, so it's hard to pick this, but Andrew Jones, my football coach, going back to when he was applying for the candidate of the job, I had a couple talks with him, and even going back, like football was important to him, but at the same time, like he's always reaching out, like asking what can he do to help me, like outside of football. And I know he's taken care of a lot of athletes and students even who aren't as fortunate. And I just think like even like now he's asking me to go hang out with him, go fishing and stuff, do stuff outside of football. And I think that like building a relationship outside and just like, I don't know, everything's bigger than kind of the sport it's in. And I just think he's done an incredible job at making sure like I'm always okay. And I know he does that with each and every one of my teammates.
Thank you for sharing that. Daren, I need 2 suggestions from you for an incoming freshman scholar athlete, and they need to follow Daren's 2 suggestions in order for them to be a success in high school. What would your 2 suggestions be?
First off, grades. I just think grades are important, and school, like as much as sometimes it's hard, like just keep going. Like don't miss class, don't be tardy. There's a lot of things that correlate it, but even going from freshman year to senior year, like it's just as important. And I think like as you keep going on, you realize how important grades were and how important that cumulative is. So I just think like with grades, it helps you become and like ready for college and stuff. And I think the second one, I think probably just try everything. Like you only go to high school once. And I think for me, I think there's some regrets where I wish I would have tried a new sport and see if I would have liked it. But I just think like, like try everything, like take new looks at stuff and see what you like.
Great suggestions. Thanks so much for sharing. We'll finish with this question, Daren. Where do you see yourself after you graduate from college?
I see myself kind of getting ready for a career. I think wherever I go in, I think I'm kind of at the end of it, and hopefully I get the right schooling done, and hopefully I have a house by then, kind of on the edge of my college, and I hope I am married at that point and maybe even starting a family. But I hope I can influence kids and kind of even my own family and have them grow up to be and have a great character.
Well said. Thanks so much for sharing. That wraps it up for our sixth guest. Again, Daren Tovey from Viewmont High School. Just to recap what the six guests we've had tonight, we had Brevan Egbert from Skyview, Malea Hansen from Syracuse, Tate Kjar from Corner Canyon, MacKenzie Mayer from Grand County High School, Journey Toomey from North San Pete, and of course, Daren Tovey from Viewmont. We thank all of these student athletes and honor them and their great accomplishments this year. And for our listeners, we hope you tune in again next week for another edition of the UIAAA Connection.